the less than line is dashed. Now, what is one characteristic of linear inequalities that is missing from my current graph? What have I completely missed doing? Aaron?
Shading.
Shading. There's no shading on this graph, right? And I need to figure that out. So, Yashua identified for us that our symbols are less than symbols. If I were to shade both of these lines, if I were to shade line 1, I would be shading down. So everyone see that? Be shading down like this. Where would I shade for line 2? By shading up or down? So I've heard a lot from Yashua and Aaron. Deontay?
I would say up.
You would say up. Tell me why you'd say up. You don't know? Maybe someone could answer and then give an explanation so that way Deontay can hear. Yashua?
Shade up because you're
Hold on, I can see the wheels turning, Yashua. Kayla, where am I shading?
Down.
Why am I shading down? Because it's what?
Less than.
Because it's less than. Deontay and Yashua, what is this symbol? Less than. And what is our logic method telling us about less than?
You shade below.
You shade below. So with my green, I would shade below here. And here is where I stop and I want you to see. Where on this graph do you see both red and green?
down.
Down, right? I can erase this right now. And this area where they overlap, that is my answer. So I think today what we're really going to need to work through is exactly which area we're shading and which area we're saying our answer is. But the good news is that we've just gone through one example. We're going to do a lot more on our own mini whiteboards, and we're going to be able to erase our own shading. But I did ask you to do one specific thing when I was doing this example. And I asked you to write down what you saw me doing so we can have a discussion back as to how do we even start this process. So you can raise your hand and tell me the first thing that they saw me doing with this problem. Excellent. A lot of hands. Let's start with Tiara. I asked, what was the first thing that you saw me doing in this example?
You wrote 1 half and b equals 2, and then at the other part you wrote a equals -2 down and b equals -1.
Perfect. So Tiara's telling me that the first thing that I did was identify my, what is M?
So.
Identify my slope, and then I identified my what?
y-intercept.
Excellent. Thanks for helping her out there. So I identified those two things. Excellent job, Tiara. What did I do after I finished identifying those things? Aaron?
You did your first. You did your first line.
I did something else before I graphed my first line.
You plotted.
Even before I plotted, even before I came all the way over to this graph, I did something else over here. Oh, I drew that check after. What did I do, Yashua? What did I do, Yashua? I know you're excited about it. Just raise your hand. Okay.
You did less than.
Why did I write that? Where did that come from?
Because you did that because you have to check your inequality.
Good. I need to identify my inequalities. Kayla, what would you add to that answer, since you gave your answer as well? Okay, well maybe you can rephrase it in your own way and what you were going to say when you didn't read your hand.
You put less than so you will remember what to shade.
Perfect. So that's the main reason that I'm identifying my inequality symbol for these problems is I need to make sure I know where I'm shading. Question.
No, it's just what you said.
Good. So now back to what Aaron said. After I did that, I came and graphed. Right? Can someone just explain the overall process that I used when I was graphing here? Okay, I've heard a lot from Yasha. I recently heard from Kayla. Let's go to Deontay, but then I also want Yasha, Kayla, Tiara to be thinking about what you would add to Deontay's answer. Cool? Deontay.
What you did was that you used your solid and dash line. Then you shaded in at the bottom.
Okay, before I shaded, you're absolutely right, I used my solid and my dashed line. What can we add to that to kind of elaborate a little more? Kayla?
What you did is first you shade in the number one problem in, because it's less than, so you shade in with the green. And then you went to the second problem, you shade overlap.
Okay, good. So I wanted to see where they overlapped. Can anyone just talk through some of the more mechanics of the actual graph? Yasha?
You put your point.
Yeah, so just I want to make sure that we're reinforcing the connection between what we did in the do now and what we did last week with plotting the points, drawing the line. I know that Deontay and Kayla, you guys already you assumed that that was always going to be the case, but I just wanted to call it out. But then afterward, you're absolutely right about shading. Tiara, were you going to add something to that?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to say?
Why did you say shade over on the green card?
Excellent question. I'm going to repeat her question. Tiara wants to know, why did I shade over what was already colored on? Who can answer that question? Keith?
Because outcome makes sense.
Okay, because we also had a shade down because the other one was less than. Why else? What can we add to that, Aaron?
Because it's always going to come together.
Because we have a system of inequalities. And the system means that you have two lines that have one solution. Yasha, what else? You like your arm is coming out. What's going on?
Alright, so you shaded them both because both inequalities equal less.
Oh, well, the inequality isn't equal less. How can you? I know exactly what you mean, but how can you rephrase that for your math language?
The inequalities are both less than.
Perfect. Excellent, excellent job. Yasha, I'm really proud of you. You've really been killing it with your rephrasing with the math language. Alright, so let's now start doing some examples on our own because we all know that that's really the way that we prefer to be getting this information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a minute to 1, move into your partner pairs, 2, get your mini whiteboard, and 3, get your whiteboard markers. Go.
Get over here.
That's where you're doing boards for me? Or are you doing markers? Who's doing boards?
What am
The ghost is
Over
doing the boy.
That's not what we decided.
Yeah, the ghost did.
Who's doing the board? Thank you, Erin. I should see a little bit more movement. I'm not going to give you a countdown since I'm not seeing all the movements I need to see. You have 30 seconds to get into your partner pair. You have 29. You have 28. You have 27. Ladies, how do our desks look? You have 26. You have 24. You have 23. You have 22 seconds. You have 21 seconds. You now have 20 seconds. You have 19 seconds. You have 18 seconds. You have 17 seconds. 16. 15. 14. 13. 12. 11. 10. By the time I get to 1, I want everyone, since it's a very happy Friday, to draw for me their best smiley face on their mini whiteboards. You have 9, 8, 7. I need to see both partners' colors to show our collaborative approach to these problems today. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it up so I can see, in 1. Excellent. I see a smiley face from Deontay and from Cody. I really like how Aaron drew the eyes and Keith drew the nose and the mouth.
I do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. Those are great smiley faces. Great as well. Thank you for your contribution there, Joshua. So, we will take care of the paper towels in a minute. Okay, so maybe when you go, can you bring us back some paper towels? Yes, take the pass. So for number 1, on your blank side, you're copying this down. And you already know what I expect from the blank side of your whiteboard. So you are doing that with this example. Do not flip over and start graphing until I have signed off on your blank side.
No, don't like being,
Good. Excellent. But what am I always looking for with these problems on this blank side? First for you, can you remember?
like real,
What else am I looking for? And then how's that do it? Exactly. Nice job. Excellent job. What did I do in my example that I wrote on the side that you saw? Perfect. Good job. And the back side needs to be erased. If anyone still has a graph on their back from Wednesday, just let me know. Excellent job. Excellent job writing this. Excellent job. Tiara? What's missing down here? That was written in the original inequality, but is missing from where you rewrote your slide.
X.
Nope, you don't need the X. I'm looking at right here, this bottom inequality. I'm looking at, yes. So why don't you go ahead and do that for me down there? Oh, we're looking at the bottom inequality too. So now, with these problems, a very good method to make sure that both of you are working is for one of you to decide to graph one of you to graph the other, but then I want you to switch and for shading. So Kayla, you will shade for Tiara's line. Tiara, you will shade Kayla's line. Good? Alright, you guys can go ahead and start graphing. Oh, okay. Excellent. So you do that for right here. Because we're not doing the systems of inequalities, how many slopes do you think I should have written on our blank side?
1, 2.
Or how many slopes do you see that are just written here in front of you? 2? How many y-intercepts do you see? So I should say 1 for this inequality and 1 for this inequality. Talk me through where 1 happened.
So now you took one, you need a rise and a round, you need a round. So you should run.
Okay.
So, I'll just remember there's always there's always a 1. But
Second one under.
so it's going to be over. You can go ahead and do it with your brain.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.